Let's get to Rick Santelli in Chicago with a very special guest, the G-Man. Hey, Rick.
Yes, we have the G-Man, and before we even get to the G-Man, I want somebody else, let's call him the A-Man. Alan Simpson had something to say about the pledge in Grover Norquist. Let's run our clip.
You have a situation where Grover Norquist has obtained this pledge in the 80s and the early 90s. He got this pledge that you wouldn't raise taxes under any circumstances unless there's a commensurate spending cut. And those guys are enthralled to him. There are 82 guys in the House who didn't run to limit government. They came to stop it.
Well, as I welcome Grover Norquist, boy, you know, you're persona non grata. How dare you have people sign a pledge about tax reform where people vote to sell their representatives to Washington to represent their thoughts? What's sacrilege? What do you have to say about Alan Simpson's quote there, Mr. Norquist?
Well, Alan Simpson knows better. The pledge is a commitment to the voters of the state where somebody's running and to the American people. It's not a commitment to me. I know Alan Simpson says that, and Joe Biden said it in the debate, but it's just not true. If you read the pledge, it's on our website, atr.org. It's a pledge, it's been around for 25 years, to the American people that when an elected official goes to Washington or to their state capital, they won't raise taxes. They'll reform government, they'll limit spending, but they won't raise taxes. The Democrats don't like that because their game plan is spend so much money that the country's on the verge of bankruptcy and then turn to the Republicans and say, hey guys, why don't you be real and help us out of our problem? And the answer is we're not raising taxes to pay for your overspending. We're going to reduce spending.
Now, you know, let's take this a step farther. Ronald Reagan is obviously called a compromiser, and he tried to compromise on things like immigration and, you know, spending issues on a compromise. Well, neither were guaranteed, neither were delivered. He didn't get his dream on immigration, and when it came to spending cuts, they were never realized. So is there any way to actually guarantee that when spending cuts are promised in front of solutions to fiscal cliff, that it'll actually happen?
Well, we know history. As you said, in 1982, the Democrats promised Reagan $3 of spending cuts for every $1 of tax increase. The tax increase was real. We're still paying them. The $3 of spending cuts never happened. Spending went up, not down. 8 years later, George Herbert Walker Bush, a slightly cheaper date, was offered $2 of imaginary spending cuts for $1 of real tax increase. Those tax increases were enacted. They're real. We're still paying them. We never got a penny of spending cuts. So Obama and Biden come and say, let's do a deal where we promise to cut spending down the road in return for real tax increases. The answer to that is no. We're going to cut spending, not raise taxes.
Grover, as you probably know by now, Paul Ryan's out on the campaign stump promising that they're better equipped to reach some sort of compromise over the cliff. Does that make you think maybe they don't have the same convictions as you do?
No, because Paul Ryan understands I'm all in favor of compromising on the road to liberty. We wanted a $6 trillion spending cut over the next decade when we had that argument in 2011. We got $2.5 trillion, not 6, 2.5. Not as much as I wanted, as Paul Ryan wanted, but lower spending than Obama was planning. Obama, instead of reducing spending, wants to raise taxes rather than spending cuts. That's not compromising. That's losing.
Another issue, Mr. Norquist, it really got under my skin, again, to listen to the vice president debate and listen to Joe Biden look at the camera and talk about millionaires and billionaires. Hey, I want to go on the hunt for this $750,000. The math doesn't add up. We know it's adjusted gross income on a family of $250,000, but they jump to this millionaire and billionaire. There's $750,000 in the middle. Why do they fib about it so much?
Well, look, Joe Biden is the old guy in that debate, and he acted like a teenager, interrupting and constantly mouthing off and doing this sort of smirky, snarky thing that I think was cute when we were 14 years old and was considered macho or something. It was very sad to watch, but his reasoning was the same way. He says millionaires and billionaires the way 14-year-old boys use naughty words that they've just learned. It doesn't have any it's not part of reality. The tax increase that Obama is says he wants will hit 1 million small businesses. 1 million small businesses will pay Obama's higher rates. But we should
we have to go, Mr. Norquist, but it's big business they love. Those loopholes, they're there for a reason. They like big business to be big donators, and they like no big business could find little itty-bitty loopholes. The rest of the small business and the rest of us can't afford to find them. Thank you for being on our show, sir.
Thank you.